Awesome people, you're welcome to another session, another learning time. It's good to have you once again for today's class. I'm very excited to be here, and I believe you are excited too. So, good people, do you often find yourself feeling manipulated or taken advantage of at work? Are you tired of navigating toxic relationships and, with co-workers who seem to always have their own hidden agenda? It's time to take control, awesome people, and protect your peace. There's an interesting song, a common song that says peace of mind is underrated. It's really interesting and it actually goes with our today's topic. It's time to take control and protect your peace, awesome people. You're welcome today for today's class, protecting yourself, strategies for dealing with manipulative co-workers. And we are going to share practical tips on how you can identify manipulative behaviors, set boundaries, and maintain a healthy work environment. You're highly welcome to today's class. And like I said earlier, are manipulative co-workers making your life, your work life stressful? Do you feel like you're constantly being undermined or used for someone else's gain? It's time to put an end to that, awesome people. Welcome once again to this empowering webinar on this interesting topic, protecting yourself. Strategies for dealing with manipulative workers. And what will you learn today? You learn to identify manipulative tactics quickly and easily. You're going to learn about assertive communications to safeguard your position. And you're going to learn about setting boundaries without escalating conflict. You'll also learn about how to stay resilient and protect your peace in difficult environments. Awesome people, don't let toxic co-workers pull you down. Equip yourself with the tools you need to thrive and create a positive workspace. You're welcome to this awesome class and for taking this awesome step, because today's class is a step towards a healthier work life. Congratulations for taking this step. Thank you. So right away, before we proceed, let's continue with our mantra. I believe you know our mantra, the uncommon man. The uncommon man mantra. So let's take it together, then we'll proceed with our class. Let's take our mantra together. It's just a reminder that we are not mere men, that we are elites, we are elites, we are uncommon. And this mantra we are going to take together is from the book Common Sense, written in 1776 by Thomas Paine. I want you to pick up this book, read it once again, and empower yourself as a reminder that you are actually uncommon. Let's take it together. Let's take it together. I do not choose to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon. If I can, I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to barter incentive for a door. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the stale calm of utopia. I will not trade freedom for beneficence, nor my dignity for a handout. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any trait. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to think and act for myself, to enjoy the benefits of my creations, and to face the world boldly and say, this, with God's help, I have done. Can we take this part again? It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to think and act for myself, to enjoy the benefits of my creations, and to face the world boldly and say, this, with God's help, I have done. Congratulations, 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 you uncommon man. Congratulations. Okay, awesome people. We are back again to our interesting topic, protecting yourself, st- strategies for dealing with manipulative co-workers. I can tell you for free that this topic is not just restricted to co-workers. It encompasses your neighbors, your spouse, your sibling, anybody that is manipulative. The strategies you're going to learn here covers all of that, not only your workplace. You're welcome. Protecting yourself, strategies for dealing with manipulative co-workers. You're highly welcome. And why are we having this webinar? Why is it important? This webinar is actually designed to empower you with practical strategies that will help you to handle manipulative co-workers. Not just manipulative co-workers, manipulative neighbors, manipulative siblings, manipulative friends, manipulative families, any human being that is manipulative. So awesome people, whether you are currently facing difficult behavior at work or you want to be prepared for future challenges. This session is going to give you tools that will help you to protect your peace. Remember, the singer says peace of mind is underrated. Yes. Today's class is going to give you tools to protect your peace. One, maintain your professionalism. Two, and to thrive. Now, these are what we look at today. We'll introduce the topic. We'll talk about understanding manipulative co-workers, recognizing manipulative tactics, setting boundaries, effective communication strategies, maintaining resilience, we'll also look at dealing with manipulative bosses. Then we'll discuss practical scenarios. We'll take a recap and key takeaways of today's class. We'll now have question and answer sessions, our final thoughts and resources, and call to action. I believe you're ready. Are you ready? Good. If you're ready, let's see your biro. If you're ready, let's see your jotter. My jotter is right here with me. And this jotter is a gift from Advantage Workforce Consultants. It's right here with me, and I'm ready to learn. And I believe you're all ready to learn. So let's start, good people, on our learning spree. Welcome. We'll start with this quote by an unknown. He says, people who manipulate others are often those who feel powerless themselves. I want you to have this at the back of your mind at every point in your life, that anybody who seems to be manipulating others, they are actually feeling powerless themselves. They're actually feeling powerless. Don't give them power by falling for their manipulations. Don't give them power by being afraid of them. Just know that they are powerless. They feel powerless themselves. That's why you now see them trying to use manipulative tactics to gain some form of control over themselves or people. Say people who manipulate others are often those who feel powerless themselves. A quote by an unknown. This is me once again. I'm Enobong, Ekarika, and I am an experienced professional, that specializes in workplace dynamics. I specialize in personal development and business coaching. And with a background in leadership training and conflict resolution, I have helped countless individuals, countless organizations to navigate challenging workplace environment and achieve career success. We are here once again with me to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. You're welcome once again to today's class. Now, interestingly, why is this topic important? Why is it necessary to recognize manipulations early? Why is it necessary to recognize manipulations early? Why is important, like we've stated here, is that early recognition will always help you to protect your mental health and career progression. Early recognition of manipulations will help you recognize, protect your mental health and, your career progression. And then it allows you to set boundaries and prevent escalation. And then when you know these signs early, it gives you the power to respond respectively, strategically, before the situation gets worse. You will always be able to respond appropriately before situation gets worse. That's why it's important to recognize manipulation early. So what is manipulation? How do you know that a co-worker is manipulative? Okay, just like we stated here, it says workplace manipulation refers to behaviors where an individual uses deceit, uses pressure, uses indirect tactics to control or influence others for personal gain, and this is often at the expense of co-workers' well-being or career progression. Let's take it again. Workplace manipulation. This is when an individual uses deceit, uses pressure, uses indirect tactics to control or to influence others, and for what use? For their personal gain. And this is often at the expense of their co-workers' well-being or career progression. That is what we mean by workplace manipulation. Let's look at another quote by Epictetus. This quote by Epictetus says, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is a quote by Epictetus. Now let's get to the meat of the matter. Manipulative tactics. Manipulative tactics. Manipulative tactics. How do we recognize manipulative behaviors? Recognizing manipulative behaviors. We are going to look at 12 manipulative tactics, manipulative behaviors, and we are going to discuss them individually. Remember, today's class is an enlightenment session. Get ready as we highlight and address all these manipulative tactics one after the other. Thank you. We are good to go, good to go, good to go, good to go. Manipulative tactics number one is gaslighting. Gaslighting. What do you mean by gaslighting? Have you dealt with someone that makes you doubt your memory, or doubt your capacity, or doubt your perception of events? Gaslighting occurs when someone is trying to convince you that you did this when you know you did not. It's like myself wearing this gown. Someone that is gaslighting will try to convince me that I did not do this, I did not have that. Whereas you know you did that. So at the end of the day, you feel confused and start doubting yourself. In gaslighting, manipulators make you question your own memory, perception, or reality, causing you to feel confused or doubt yourself. An example is when a co-worker denies ever giving you instructions for a project, even though you both discussed it in details. Over time, you start second guessing yourself whether the conversation ever happened. That's gaslighting. When the manipulator makes you to start questioning yourself, to start second guessing yourself, even when you know these things are like this. That's gaslighting. Then blame shifting. Blame shifting is when they refuse to accept responsibility for their actions and instead blame the blame on others. When you see someone that loves doing that, they refuse taking responsibilities and keep blaming some other person, blame you and or others for their mistake. That's a manipulative tactic, a manipulative behavior. Then we have an example is when a teammate misses a deadline and then tells the boss that it was your fault because you didn't remind them. Okay, even though you provided all necessary reminders and information. Another manipulative tactic is silent treatment. In silent treatment, they will deliberately ignore or refuse to communicate with you to punish or manipulate you into complying with their demands. Is a manipulative technique. Remember, we said all manipulators are doing it to push for their personal gains. So this person deliberately ignores or refuses to communicate with you to punish you or to manipulate you into complying with their demands. An example is after a disagreement in a meeting, your coworker avoids responding to your emails or engaging in any conversation with you until you apologize, even if you weren't at fault. Another common manipulative tactic is emotional blackmail. Here, they'll use guilt, fear, or obligation to manipulate you into doing something you don't want to do. An example is when a colleague says, if you don't cover my shifts, I'll lose my job, and it will be your fault, pressuring you to take on extra work even though it's unfair to you. Are we having value? Are we having value? You see a colleague in emotional blackmail making you feel like they are, if you don't help them, something may happen to them and it's your fault if anything goes wrong. And with that emotional tactics, they get you to do things to save their purpose. That means one key thing about manipulators is selfishness. They are very selfish people. They only work for their gains, not for yours. Now, number 5 manipulative technique is flattery with a hidden agenda. Flattery with a hidden agenda. What do you mean by this? When this co-worker or this individual gives you excessive or insincere compliment to gain your trust or to manipulate you later. Let's take it again. This when an individual or a co-worker gives you excessive or insincere compliments to gain your trust or to manipulate you later. An example is when a co-worker constantly praises your work, constantly hypes you, and suggests that you're the only one capable of handling a particular task, and which will always lead to you taking on more responsibilities than that benefit them but actually overloads you. That's a manipulative technique. Other manipulative technique is isolation. Isolation here, manipulators may attempt to cut you off from important information or support systems in the workplace to gain control. And example of this is when a colleague consistently forgets to invite you to important meetings or fails to include you in email threads, leaving you out of the loop on critical discussions. That's a manipulative technique. Number 7 manipulative technique is playing the victim. Here, they will consistently portray themselves as being unfairly treated to avoid accountability or to gain sympathy. The manipulator will make themselves feel very, very, you know, treated unfairly. And the whole essence is to do what? To avoid accountability or for them to gain sympathy. An example is when confronted about underperforming, they claim that they weren't given proper instructions or enough time, or even though, and this is occurs even though everyone had the same resources and deadline. They always have a way of playing the victim. Then number 8 is withholding resources. That's another manipulative tactics. They intentionally deny you access to tools, information, or opportunities that you need to succeed. An example is when a team leader doesn't provide you with key data or access to a system until the last minute, okay, making it difficult for you to complete your work on time. That is another manipulative technique. Now, let's look at more manipulative behaviors. When you know these techniques, when you know these behaviors, you'll be able to prevent and avoid their impact on your life. Number 9 is intimidation. Intimidation. How is intimidation a manipulative technique? Here, they use traits, they use aggressive behaviors or subtle intimidation to get their way. An example is when a co-worker raises their voice. They use threatening body language or they make passive aggressive comments when you don't agree with them or you're challenging their ideas. That is intimidation, either threats, aggressive behaviors, or threatening body language, or passive aggressive comments just because you don't agree with them, or because you challenge their ideas, or just because they want to control you for their personal gains. Other one is undermining confidence. Manipulators may quickly belittle or criticize your ideas to erode your self-esteem and to keep control. Most times they do this publicly, okay? Publicly belittling you, criticizing your ideas, making you feel small, making your ideas feel small and unnecessary. And example is in meetings, a colleague regularly dismisses your suggestions by saying things like, that's not practical. Oh, you're overthinking it, without offering constructive feedback. That is a manipulative action. The next one is triangulation. What do you mean by triangulation? Triangulation is involving a third party to create confusion, tension, or conflict between two people. Let me take it again. It's a manipulative tactic where the manipulator involves a third party, and the essence of that is to create confusion, to create tension, or to create conflict between two people. An example is when a co-worker tells you that another team member said something negative about you, then tells the other person that you've been talking behind their back, causing unnecessary tension between the two of you. That is gossip. People gossip, gossip, tell, making, we say, make two heads to jam. That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. Triangulation is a manipulative tactic. And then feigning helplessness. That's another manipulative tactic. feigning helpfulness. This is they offer help or advice with the intention of taking credit or manipulating you later. This is when someone offers help with or advice with the intention of taking credit or manipulating you later. An example is when a colleague offers to assist you on a project but later takes full credit for your work during a team meeting and then making it seem like they were the only one in charge. Now let's quickly look at the next slide. It says you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. That's the reason we need to know about these manipulative tactics so that we refuse to allow them thrive in our life, so that we can refuse to allow them succeed with us. That's why Tony Gaskin said, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. I hope we are having value. I hope we are having value, awesome people. All right. All right. Now let's look at red flags to watch for in our daily interactions. Red flags to watch for in our daily interactions. Let's take it up one after the other. Number one, red flag is feeling confused after conversations. When you see yourself feeling confused after conversations, you should have it in mind that this could be a red flag. There's something fishy somewhere. This is if you frequently leave interactions feeling uncertain or questioning your own memory. This could be a sign of gaslighting or manipulation. Example, after discussing a project with your co-worker, you find yourself second guessing what was agreed upon as they subtly distort details or change the terms in future conversations. Other one is unfair emotional pressure. This is if you constantly feel guilty or anxious after interacting with someone, they may be using emotional manipulation tactics on you. And this can happen a co-worker when a co-worker does what makes you feel guilty for setting boundaries. Okay, they could make statements like, I guess I'll just stay late by myself whenever you refuse to do their work. They leave you feeling emotionally pressured. Another red flag is reoccurring drama or conflict. This is when manipulative co-workers, they often thrive in environments filled with dramas or tension. that they secretly instigate. They secretly instigate these dramas. So when you're in an environment that you're feeling your recurrent drama, just take it as a red flag to watch out for. Other red flag is being overloaded with work that isn't yours. Manipulators may exploit your goodwill by subtly pushing extra tasks or responsibilities onto you. And this is when you consistently find yourself picking up the slack for a co-worker, you know, who always has an excuse for why they can't complete their work on time, even though it's not part of your role. They have a way of making you take up their responsibilities. Another one is Another red flag is co-workers sharing negative opinion. And if multiple people are repeating the same negative views about someone or something, it might be the result of triangulation. Remember, we talked about triangulation or manipulative gossip. Okay? Triangulating gossips. Example is, you notice that several co-workers suddenly seem to have the same negative perception of you, which you later find out was fueled by a manipulative individual that is spreading rumors. Then number 6, a sense of unease around certain people. Here, your instincts can often pick up on manipulation even before your conscious mind does. And if you constantly feel uneasy or on edge around a particular coworker, it might be a sign of a manipulative behavior. An example is when you get this nagging feeling that a co-worker is not entirely honest with you, and after interacting with them, you often feel drained or anxious without knowing exactly why. That is a red flag that there's some manipulative individual or manipulations in the air. Then another red flag is being left out of important information. For instance, if you're repeatedly excluded from key meetings or information, or information is withheld, this could be a tactic to do what? To control you or to keep you at a disadvantage, you know. And example is when important details about project deadlines are always forgotten when you're involved, but everyone else seems to be well informed. Very important, very, very important. Let's get to the next slide. Now, what is the way out of the influence of these manipulators? Number one is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries, very, very crucial. Setting boundaries is very crucial in toxic environment. That's one of the ways you can overcome the impact or whatever the manipulative person wanted to achieve on you from taking effect. Why setting boundaries is important is that it helps to protect your mental and emotional well-being, because boundaries act as a buffer between you and the toxic behavior, helping you protect your energy, self-esteem, and peace of mind. And without clear boundaries, manipulative co-workers can easily drain you emotionally, leading to burnout or anxiety. Then another reason why it's so important, why setting boundaries is important, is that it helps you to maintain professionalism and focus. It helps you stay focused on your responsibilities, allowing you to avoid being distracted by unnecessary dramas or taking on tasks that aren't your job. This will keep you productive and professional in different environments. Then when you get to set boundaries, it helps to prevent manipulation. It helps to prevent manipulations. Okay? Then it also fosters respect from co-workers. Your co-workers know that you don't just tolerate some things, that you don't accept some things. When you set and communicate your boundaries, You teach others how to treat you. Okay? Colleagues are more likely to respect your time, your space, and responsibilities when they know that you have clear limits. And then it reduces manipulation and exploitation because boundaries protect you from being exploited by manipulative co-workers who may try to push extra work onto you or take advantage of your goodwill. Then it increases focus and productivity. Setting boundaries always help to increase focus and productivity. Still on setting boundaries, let's quickly look at 5 ways to clearly assert your boundaries. 5 ways to clearly assert your boundaries. Number one, be direct and specific. Be direct and specific. What do you mean by that? Clearly communicate what your boundaries are without ambiguity. Use straightforward language. Be plain, okay, to explain what is acceptable and what is not. For example, instead of saying, I can't do that, I can't take, why not say, I can't take an additional task right now because I'm focusing on my current project. Then use the I statement. Frame your boundaries using I statement to express your feelings. For instance, I feel overwhelmed when I receive last minute requests, so I need at least a week's notice for new tasks. Then stay calm and confident, very important. Maintain that calm and assertive demeanor, okay, when stating your boundaries. Your tone and body language should do what? They should convey confidence and clarity. They should convey confidence and clarity. And then just be clear, be calm and confident. Then be consistent. Consistency is key when setting boundaries. Stick to the limits you've set and reinforce them regularly. Then practice active listening. When discussing boundaries, actively listen, okay, to the other person's perspective. Actively listen. Acknowledge their concerns and their feelings, but stand firm on your limit. Stand firm on your limit. For instance, you can say, I understand that you're facing challenges, but I cannot compromise my work hours to assist with this. Let's get to the next slide. Let's look at some phrases to use in difficult situations. What are some phrases you can use? These are some examples. Some phrases you can use in difficult situations. For instance, when someone tries to give you extra work, you can say, I'm currently prioritizing my own task, so I won't be able to take that on. Or you can say, I can assist with this after I complete my current responsibilities, but not before. Another phrase you can use is, let's clarify whose responsibility this is according to our roles before we proceed. Okay? Another way you can handle this when someone tries to give you extra work is, just say, it seems this request might be better handled by, you mention some other person, some other team member, or some other department. Now, another one is, when you're pressured to make a decision. When you're pressured to make a decision. Now, what is a common phrase that you can use? You can tell the person, I prefer to weigh all options carefully before making a commitment. I'll let you know when I'm ready. That's a good one. That's a good phrase. Another one you can use when you're feeling being pressured to make a decision. Just tell the person, rushing this decision won't lead to the best outcome. Let's revisit it after I've had time to consider it properly. Then you can also say, I like to gather more feedback from others before making a final decision. And then you can now, or you can say, oh, I'm not comfortable about making decision on the spot. Can we set a deadline for when I'll get back to you? Those are phrases to handle when someone is pressuring you to take decisions hurriedly. Another situation is when a colleague oversteps personal boundaries. What are the likely phrases you can use? You can tell them, I would like to focus on work-related discussion. Just tell them, hey, hello, friend. I would like to focus on work-related discussions. Let's keep our discussion professional. That's a good one. Or you can just tell the person, I'm not comfortable with this topic. Can we switch back to discussing the task at hand? Or you can say, please respect my boundaries. I'd rather not share personal information in the workplace. Other phrase you can use is tell the person, I appreciate your interest, but I prefer my personal life separate from work. Other phrase you can use is, I find it more productive to stay on task during working hours. Let's save personal topics for some other time. Then, when someone criticizes or undermines you, you can tell the person, I understand your perspective, but I'm confident in the approach I've chosen. You can also tell the person, that's a valid point, but I believe this method works best for the current situation. Now let's look at when when a manipulative coworker plays the victim. What do you tell them? Tell them, oh, I see you're upset, but I can't take responsibility for how you're feeling in this situation. Another response you can give is, oh, while I empathize with what you're going through, it's important for us to remain focused at work. I hope we are having value and have given us different phrases you can use in difficult situations. This is another interesting quote by Doreen Virtue. This quote says, boundaries are a part of self-care. They are healthy, normal, and necessary. Boundaries are a part of self-care. They are healthy, normal, and necessary. Now let's get to the next slide. Now we've discussed the different types of manipulative tactics. We've talked about creating boundaries as a strategy to manage manipulative co-workers and situations. Another effective strategy is communication, effective communications, effective communication. We are going to look at assertive communications, aggressive communication, and passive communication. What is the difference between assertive communication, aggressive communication, and passive communication? Now, assertive communication is when you express your thoughts, your feelings, and needs directly and honestly while respecting others. The characteristics of this is that it's clear, your communication is clear, it's confident, it's respectful, and you maintain eye contact. You use I statements to convey your personal feelings. For example, I would like to discuss my workload. I need to focus on my current tasks and I cannot take on additional responsibilities at this time. That is an assertive communication. We now have aggressive communication. This is expressing feelings or needs in ways that violate the rights of others, and this is often characterized by hostilities or disrespect. Characteristics of aggressive communication is that it's loud, it's confrontational, it uses blames or threats, and it can intimidate or belittle others. An example is, you always dump your work on me. It's not my job to fix your mess. That's an aggressive communication. Okay, now let's talk about passive communication. Passive communication is when you avoid expressing your thoughts, your feelings, or your needs, and this will often lead to resentment or frustrations. And characteristics of this is that they are indirect, they are apologetic, they avoid conflicts, and often fail to make needs clear. An example is, I guess, I guess, I guess I'll do it if no one else will, even though it's not really my responsibility. Now we've talked about the different forms of communication. Now, still under effective communication, techniques to maintain calm, firm communication under pressure. Techniques to maintain calm and firm communication under pressure. Please try this out, deep breathing. Try it out. You'll be surprised how much it calms you down. Having a deep breathing, practicing deep breathing has a way of keeping you calm under pressure. It's very, very efficient in keeping you. Take slow, deep breath. Take slow, deep breath to calm your nerves before and during difficult conversations, and this will help you stay composed and focused. Another one is stay focused on the issue. Don't get distracted. Concentrate on the specific issue at hand rather than getting sidetracked by emotions or past grievances. Keep the conversation productive. Then use a neutral tone. Maintain a steady, calm tone of voice. Avoid raising your voice or using a condescending tone, and this will encourage respectful dialogue. And then pause before responding. Pause before responding. Take a moment to collect your thoughts before replying, especially if you feel provoked. This will help to prevent reactive communication. And then reiterate your point. If someone tries to divert the conversation, bring it back to the main point. You can say, I'd like to refocus on what we're discussing on. Let's get back to our point of discussion. These are techniques to remain calm when you're under pressure and still communicate effectively even when you're under pressure. We've talked about role-playing examples or suggested scripts for dealing with manipulative co-workers. We've looked at one. For example, let me give you some more scripts. If a co-worker tries to blame you for their mistake, just tell them, I understand you're feeling frustrated, but I believe the responsibility for this issue lies with the team's collective effort. Let's discuss how we can move forward together. Another situation is, if a colleague keeps interrupting you, just tell the person, I appreciate your input, but I would like to finish my thoughts first. Then I'll be happy to hear your perspective. Another scenario is when a manipulative coworker uses guilt to get you to help. Tell them, I understand you're in a tough situation, you're in a tough spot, but I can't take additional work right now. It's important for me to manage my own responsibilities effectively. I hope you are having value. Please put in the chat box value. Put in the chat box value. Now, these are strategies to stay grounded and protect your emotional health. Number one is practice mindfulness. Practice mindfulness. We've always emphasized and talked about mindfulness. This is engage in mindfulness practices to stay present and reduce anxiety. Such techniques can be meditation, can be deep breathing exercises, or even mindful walking. It can help you become aware of your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Then set realistic expectations. Avoid overwhelming yourself by setting achievable goals and expectations for your work. By setting, let your goals be achievable. Break larger tasks into smaller, manageable steps to help you maintain focus and reduce stress. 3, develop healthy coping mechanisms. Develop healthy coping mechanisms. Identify and practice healthy ways to cope with stress, such as journaling, engaging in creative outlets, or exercising. Avoid turning to unhealthy habits like excessive screen time or substance use for relief. Limit negative influence. Identify toxic relationships and limit them. Limit your interactions with them. Then reflect and reassess. Reflect and reassess. Now, an interesting quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. He says, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Let's take it again. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, we've talked about techniques like mindfulness, stress management, and self-care. Mindfulness, stress management, and mindfulness techniques are, like we said, meditation. Spend a few minutes daily in quiet reflection, to clear your mind and enhance focus. Breathing exercise, body scan, pay attention to physical sensations on your body from head to toe, promoting awareness and relaxation. Then stress management techniques can be proper time management, take breaks and downtime, and have time for physical activity. Have time for physical activity. Then self-care practices can be eat healthy eating, nourish your body with balanced meals to maintain energy levels and your overall health. Then adequate sleep. Prioritize quality sleep each night to enhance your resilience and ability to cope with stress, and engage in hobbies. Those are self-care practices. Engage in hobbies. Still on maintaining resilience, importance of building a support system. Building a support system is very key. What happened? It fosters connection. Having a support network will provide that sense of belonging and connection, which is crucial for emotional well-being. Sharing experiences with others can help you feel less isolated in challenging situations. And then encourages feedback, sharing and feedback. It also provides emotional support. It encourages accountability and also gives you access to resources. What do you mean? A strong support system can connect you with resources such as professional development opportunities, counseling services, or wellness programs that further enhances your resilience. Let's get to the next slide. Dealing with manipulative bosses. Now let's look at 10 tips for handling manipulative behavior from someone in authority. 10 tips for handling manipulative behavior from someone in authority. What are the tips? Recognize their tactics. When you recognize their tactics, it's easy to handle them. It's easy to handle the manipulative behavior they are bringing. Educate yourself on common manipulative behavior such as gaslighting, guilt tripping, or playing the victim. Awareness will help you identify these tactics in your boss. Then document everything. Document everything. Keep a record, a detailed record of interactions, of discussions, and any incident involving manipulative behavior. This document can be crucial if you need to escalate the issue later. Stay professional, maintain a calm and professional demeanor regardless of your boss behavior. Okay? Set boundaries. Clearly communicate your boundaries and expectations, okay, to express how their behavior affects you. Then seek clarification. Use the I statements. Stay focused on your work. That means you concentrate on your tasks and performance, and this focus can help you maintain a sense of control and reduce the impact of your boss's manipulation. Then avoid engaging in their drama. Manipulators often thrive in conflict and drama. Stay out of gossip and unnecessary disputes to minimize their influence over you. Then find allies. Build relationships with supportive colleagues who can provide encouragement and advice. A network of allies can help you navigate challenging situations and offer a sounding board. Now, maintain your confidence. Number 10, maintain your confidence. Very key. Maintain your confidence. Now, let's take these quotes by Leonardo da Vinci. He says, the greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions. Very true. The greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions. The greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions. Now, how do you deal, still on dealing with manipulative bosses, how do you, when and how to escalate or seek external help? Number one is assess the situation, follow your company protocol, talk to your HR, seek mediation, look for external support, know your rights, evaluate your option, build a safety plan, stay professional in escalation, prepare for possible outcomes. Prepare for possible outcomes. These are some strategies in case you need to seek external help. Now, before escalating, evaluate the severity and frequency of the manipulative behavior. Determine whether it's a one-time incident or is a part of a larger pattern. I will say talk to HR. If the behavior continues despite your effort to address it directly, consider discussing the issue with your HR, your human resource department. Provide them with documented evidence to support your claims. Then we've talked about a lot of practical real life examples. We look at two real life examples. Let's look at two scenarios. Your boss last minute changes. Your boss frequently makes last minute changes to project deadline, leaving you scrambling to meet unrealistic expectations. Now, application here is that recognize their tactics. Identify this behavior as manipulative as it creates unnecessary pressure. Then set boundaries. Politely communicate their behavior as manipulation as it creates unnecessary pressure. Okay? And request a more advanced notice. Then document everything. Keep records of changes and their impact on your workload. Other scenario we look at is blame shifting. And this is when a colleague frequently shifts blame for mistakes onto you during team meetings, making you appear incompetent. What do? Use I statement, find allies, talk to HR. Very, very important. Let's look at scenario 3, guilt tripping. When a co-worker constantly guilt trips you into helping them with their tasks by emphasizing how overwhelmed they are, what do? Your own application is what? Stay focused on your work. Stay focused on your work. Politely decline additional tasks, saying, I have my responsibilities to focus on, so I can't take on more right now. Then use a neutral tone. Don't just be calm. Don't be aggressive and don't be condescending and don't be timid. Use a neutral tone. Then build a support system. Scenario 4, gaslighting. When your manager denies conversations or agreements that have occurred, leaving you questioning your memory and confidence, what do? Document everything. Everything. Keep detailed records of conversations, agreements, and any changes in directives. Seek clarifications and talk to HR. The other scenario is when, on scenario 5, playing the victim. When your boss frequently portrays themselves as a victim of circumstances, manipulating team dynamics to gain sympathy and avoid accountability. What do? Stay professional, limit negative influence, and evaluate your options. We discussed 5 practical scenarios, real life examples. And before we round up, let's take up some questions. And please drop more questions in the chat box. Drop your questions in the chat box. We are going to attend to every one of them, one after the other. Number 1 question says, what should I do if I can't document manipulative behavior because it happened verbally in private? That's a question from somebody. Now, let us take the answer to that question. All right, our answer to question 1 is, if you can't if you couldn't document a manipulative behavior because it happened verbally and in private, what you do is that take detailed notes immediately after the conversation while the information is still fresh in your mind. Include dates, include time, include specific phrases used. Additionally, consider sending a follow-up email summarizing the conversation to create a written record. And then number 2 question, how can I deal with a manipulative coworker without escalating tension in the workplace? That's why we've been constantly emphasizing maintain a calm demeanor, use assertive communication techniques, avoid getting drawn into emotional conflicts. If necessary, practice I statements to express your feelings without placing blame, and prioritize professional interactions to prevent escalation. Number 3 question, is it worth it trying to change a manipulative boss, or should I focus on protecting myself instead? That's a very interesting question. I'll tell you that while it's important to protect yourself, you can also attempt to influence your boss' behavior by providing constructive feedback in a respectful manner. However, prioritize your well-being. If the situation doesn't improve or it worsens, it may be worth exploring other job opportunities or seeking external support. Okay, there's a question right now. The question here is, what if my support system doesn't understand what I'm going through? What if my support system doesn't understand what I'm going through? Yes, what I'll tell you is that it can be frustrating if your support system doesn't fully grasp your situation. Consider seeking additional support from professional networks, mentors, or even a therapist who specializes in workplace issues. Online forums and communities can also provide validation and advice from individuals facing similar challenges. Number 5 question, can I confront a manipulative coworker directly, or how should I do it? Please put the answer to that in the chat box. And the second answer I need in the chat box is, how can I recover from an emotional toll of dealing with manipulation in the workplace? How can I recover from the emotional toil of dealing with manipulation in the workplace? Thank you, awesome people. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun learning together. We've had fun talking about protecting yourself, strategies to manage manipulative colleagues. So I encourage you, good people, take action. Take action. Challenge yourself to implement one or two of these strategies in your work environment this week. Notice the impact it has on your interaction and overall well-being. Two, practice regularly. Practice like any skill. Effective communication and boundary setting improve with practice. So make it a habit to engage in assertive communication and self-reflection. Reach out for support. Reach out for support. Stay informed. Thank you. Thank you, awesome people. And wishing you a blessed day, a blessed time. You're simply the best. Thank you.